The feelings of last week's diaconal ordination of Boya Diocese still linger fresh in the minds of many. 12 acolytes ordained deacons with a fervent call for them to be doers of the word they preach. Bishop Michael Bibi ordained them at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral, Moliko. Meanwhile, in the weekly televised catechetical session of the diocese this Monday, 1st July, the bishop focused on the ministry of the divine word. Today's session of Know Your Faith took place at All Saints Parish, Mutengene. And members of the Christian family movement in the Diocese of Boya have recommitted themselves to the virtues of a healthy family. This as they celebrated the Golden Jubilee of CFM Sunday, June 30th, 2024. Those were our headlines, the news in the minutes ahead. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Divine Mercy Prime. This first day of the week. It is the first day of July 2024, and I am Sama Eileen for presentation. Joy still envelops the Diocese of Boya for the divine gift of workers in God's vineyard. The 12 acolytes of the Diocese of Boya have been raised to the Sacred Order of Deacons. That was on June the 29th That was on June 29, 2024 at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral. The 12 deacons are going through the rites of ordination were called upon by the local ordinary of the Diocese of Boya to treat the homey ministries with humility and devotion. Joseph Otop was a part of that event and now reports.
It was a glittery ceremony this Saturday, June 29, 2024 at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral Parish, Moliko, Boya, as some 12 acolytes of the Diocese of Boya were raised to the Sacred Order of Deacons during a Holy Mass presided at by His Lordship Michael Bibi, Bishop of the Diocese of Boya. Christians from within and out of the diocese all converged on the cathedral to witness and celebrate their sons, brothers and children as they are ordained into the diaconate. Calling forward these newly ordained deacons to be handed to the bishop by their parents and guardians is the Vicar General of the Diocese of Boya, Reverend Father Jude Thaddeus Mbi.
Christian Etuge Ekwele. Present.
The local ordinary of the Diocese of Boya called on the to-be deacons to always treat the holy mysteries with humility and devotion, with an interior adoration of mind and affection, be especially eager to bring Holy Communion to the sick, the suffering and the homebound, and to exercise the diaconate of the word, taking the promise of obedience to the bishop and his successors, and withholding the doctrine of faith with a clear conscience, individually to the church and their bishop, are these 12 acolytes.
Do you promise respect and obedience to me and my successors?
I do.
May God, who has begun the good work in you, bring it to fulfillment.
With the chanting of the Litany of Saints, this calls to mind the fact that not only those faithful on earth, but also the entire church in heaven is praying during this important moment.
Sancte Augustine.
With the laying on of hands, prayer of ordination, and handing on of the book of the gospel and investiture, finally they are now deacons as they are vested with a stole and dalmatic, which will symbolize their role in the church's worship and communal life, thereby sending them forth to be the heralds of the good news of Christ. It is hoped by the family members, Christians and the newly ordained that come 2025 they will be ordained as priests of the church.
Now, during the ordination homily, His Lordship Michael Bibi exhorted them to keep to the promise of obedience by believing what they read, teach what they believe and practice what they teach so that they be filled with the graces they need as clerics. Reverend Father Cletus Aka took interest and now tells us more about that.
Pontifical Eucharistic celebration was presided at by the Chief Shepherd of the Diocese of Buea, His Lordship Monsignor Michael Bibi, during which he outlined the rules to the newly ordained deacons. Top among these rules was to assist the bishop and priest during Eucharistic celebration, and for the deacons to dedicate themselves to the preaching of the word, as Monsignor Michael Bibi expatiates.
The deacon need to be ordained unto ministry. He need to be ordained unto the priesthood. And that ministry, he being at the ministry of service to the word. And he get for assist bishop. He get for assist father them. So that this ministry of the word, we then get for carry him out, it will be done in a proper way. It will witness for marriages them. And at the same time, it will baptize. But deacon, he know they give sacrament for anointing of sick people.
According to the prelate, the newly ordained deacons must perform the ministry of faith with a clear conscience and have a personal knowledge and encounter with Jesus Christ, especially in prayer.
Canon 266, paragraph 1 adds that through the reception of the diaconate, a person becomes a cleric and is incardinated in the particular church or personal prelature for whose service he has been advanced. As we become clerics today, remember to keep to the dignity of the clerical state. After your ordination, you will be vested with a stole and a dalmatic. The stole worn over during liturgical celebrations, usually on the arm and under the dalmatic, when it is used, symbolizes your sharing in the sacred power of Christ according to his rank and degree.
Meanwhile, the bishop reminded the 12 acolytes to mold their lives by believing what they read, teach what they believe, and practice what they teach to ensure that they observe a successful ministry.
Receive the gospel of Christ, whose herald you have become. Believe what you read. Teach what you believe. And practice what you teach. My dear deacons, to be ordained, you must believe what is contained in the deposit of the faith that has been handed on to the church. When you believe in it, allow it to influence your lives. At the same time, through your homilies, through the different catechetical sessions that you get yourself involved in, you'll be called upon to hand on what you believe, to teach what you believe. And of course, you will not only teach, but you will put into practice what you are teaching.
The Chief Shepherd of Buea used the occasion to thank the formators for the work they have been doing to mold the seminarians, especially the 12 acolytes, to follow the right path in life, and the biological parents of the deacons for giving their children to the church.
Relatively, amidst an atmosphere of joy and gratitude, family members and friends of the 12 acolytes in the Diocese of Buea gathered in their different regalia to express their gratitude to God for the gift of these newly ordained deacons within their families. They prayed to God for guidance so they can continue to follow the right path. Mayor Nadesh shares the heartfelt joy of these families in the following report. To the family members of the newly ordained deacons, it was a moment of joy and deep satisfaction to see their children chosen amongst them to move a step closer to the ministerial priesthood, as these family members were entangled in the excitement and jubilation that characterized the ordination ceremony. They all affirmed that the journey has been a difficult one, but said they are filled satisfied with their loved ones who have taken a step closer to answering God's call to walk in his vineyard.
Candidate is Eric Jimukala Fongang, and he's my nephew, my elder brother's son. I came all the way from the United States to attend this occasion, so I feel very happy today. When he started, like when he told me that I was going to go into the seminary, there was this mixture of mixed feelings in the family, like, you know, like we're really wondering, is that really what he wanted? But he made up his mind, and we just kept encouraging him and praying for him. And so for us as a family to see this day, we're so happy and thankful to God to make this day possible.
My brother, Reverend Edwin Aku, that I ordained as a deacon today. We are very, very excited. A day we are waiting for. It's by the grace of God for us to be here today. I thank God for all the control that you have taken care of him.
Come back, go secondary school there, I support him throughout. So God bless. So I tell from you can finish his school. Then he said go now for God work. And God to the blessing, so it will last, it will succeed. So I thank God plenty. And under this crisis too, God and good Lord will sit together until today they ordain him for 29 June 2024.
While expressing their gratitude and satisfaction, they had this advice for the newly ordained deacons.
We are praying so that we can give them more chance, so that God should also provide them the power that they will be able to save the nation religiously. And their next ordination that they will be ordained as Reverend Father comes up next year, February 5th. So today is the ordination for the deacon. Thank you very much.
For all the 12 of them that they have graduated today, that God should continue to take care of them, to follow the word of God, and to bring in more of their friends in the church, in the main field that they are from.
Assure him of our support as a family, and as we can assure him of our prayers that wherever he goes, he should put God first. He should put his trust in God before any man. That's the biggest advice I'm going to give him today.
The family members of the newly ordained deacons went home with smiling faces, looking forward to the priestly ordination in 2025. Meanwhile, in a recent communique signed a few hours ago by the local ordinary of Boya, the deacons have been placed at various parishes for their apostolic works. Here now is the full readout of that communique. Reverend Cyril Sangyu Kiran, Apostolic Work Parish, St. Martin the Porres Parish, Bukwango. Reverend Edwin Azong Akwo, All Saints Parish, Mutengene. Reverend Jarvis Eboa, Christ the King Parish, Movange. Reverend Kirian Nadi, Sacred Heart Parish, Bumaka. Reverend Augustine Ebot Tabogo, Holy Family Parish, Newtown, Limbe. Reverend Fidelis Nzeku Anyanwu, Immaculate Conception, Great Support. Reverend Christian Etuge Ekwele, St. Augustine Parish, Boma Street, Tiko. Reverend Bertrand Nosimbang, Divine Mercy Cathedral Parish, Moliko. And Reverend Tianji Idris Awung, St. Patrick Parish, Ngeme. They are expected to begin work in their various parishes on Monday, the 15th day of July 2024, and end on the 15th of August 2024, as per the communique signed few hours ago by the local ordinary, Bishop Michael Bibi. We now move on to something else. The weekly catechesis of Boya Diocese Know Your Faith took place today, the 1st of July 2024 at All Saints Parish, Mutengene. The Bishop of Buea, His Lordship Michael Bibi, delivered his catechesis on the ministry of the Divine Word. The event witnessed a large turnout from the Christian faithful who participated fully at its commencement till its close. Reverend Father Martin J. took part in that session and now tells us more.
It was another divine opportunity for the Christian faithful of All Saints Parish Mutengene, the Diocese of Buea, and the world at large to be educated on the teaching office of the Church. The profound teacher of the faith, His Lordship Michael Bibi, leaves no stone unturned while focusing his weekly catechesis today on the ministry of the Divine Word. Drawing reference from Book 3, Canon 756 of the Code of Canon Law following. The office of preaching the gospel to the Universal Church has been committed principally to the Supreme Pontiff and the College of Bishops. The priests, who are immediate collaborators with the bishops, are entrusted with the task of proclaiming the gospel as they are ordained for the ministry of the word and sacraments. So captivating it was to his audience when the teacher of the faith brought into awareness the Church's teaching that the lay members of Christ faithful, by reason of their baptism and confirmation, are witnesses to the good news of the gospel by the words and examples of their Christian life. And it remains certain that it can also be called in the exercise of the ministry of the word.
For inside with families them. I've been there yesterday. We've been celebrate Golden Jubilee for the Christian family movement. And one of the things and we've been talking yesterday, I said the family is been at a domestic church. When me say picking them, they learn how to be Christian. Then they learn how to go to church. Now for inside family. And Papa and Mama them, God Papa and God Mama them, together with the brothers and sisters of the inside family, that their duty and responsibility for CMC, make them teach doctrine for the younger ones them in order to help them, make them too then grow for inside them believe.
After giving succinct explanations on the sacred tradition, sacred scripture, and the magisterium as principal sources of the Church's sacred doctrine, the prelate underscored the need for reliable teachers of church doctrine. For as the Latin adage goes, nemo dat quod non habet, you cannot give what you don't have. As true Christians, we are called to be teachers of our Catholic faith. Thus, we are all catechists, the prelate noted. Some are known as general catechists, while others, by their calling, are specific catechists.
We understand catechist, that word catechist, in two senses. We give it to call them say general catechist. General catechist, now we all don't receive sacrament for baptism, we don't receive sacrament for confirmation, we get that mandate for talk God he talk for we brothers and we sisters. They go to the column says specific catechist. The specific catechist them, now the individuals and way God he don't call them from among the general catechist them, and they give them the opportunity for self-we for inside church like catechism. So we all like catechism, whether we be in a general catechism, whether we be in a specific catechism, we get that duty, we get that responsibility for CMC, we communicate, we teach God the talk for we brothers and we sisters.
At the end of the teaching learning program, the following remarks were given.
I think that from the questions that people asked, people were very eager to ask questions, meaning that the presentation was interesting and it clarified so many issues, particularly about the sacred scriptures, magisterium, and so on, because people kept asking for clarifications, and that shows that these are things that people are not aware of, that the bishop, through his these catechetical sessions, is trying to enlighten and raise awareness of the people on this.
The prelate concluded by exhorting all to be open to the grace of God, to understand the importance of the divine word, believe it, teach it, and put it into practice in daily life.
Reverend Father Martin Gia reporting there. Now, seminarians serving in the Diocese of Buea have been encouraged to see challenges faced during their formation as necessary tools in preparing them for the ministry. The Chief Shepherd of the Diocese, His Lordship Michael Bibi, made the remarks after listening to reports from the two formation houses as he began a meeting with the seminarians this Monday, 1st July 2024. Aloysius Alike was at Asumosopo. His report.
Seminarians in the Diocese of Buea began meeting with their bishop, Bishop Michael Bibi, Monday 1st of July 2024. The annual come-together is an avenue during which the Chief Shepherd meets and listens to his seminarians about their formation, academic, spiritual growth, as well as the activities. This year's meeting opens with reports from the formation houses of Bambui and Bachongtai. The reports indicate a lot of positive feedback from both formation houses with very cordial relationship between seminarians and formators, brilliant academic results and spiritual growth, as the diocesan president for seminarians serving in the Diocese of Buea reveals.
Began today with the bishops' meeting, the first conference meeting with the bishop, and we had on the agenda a word from the president, who happens to be me, and then we also had an evaluation from the various formation houses from Bachontai and from Bambui. And from Bachontai we had a lot of positive points which are usual about the formation house. We had good relationship among the seminarians and the formators. We also had a good performance when it came to intellectual formation, and also the usual retreats that are organized and the spiritual conferences that are given. For Bambui, they also pointed out a lot of positive points. The intellectual formation was superb. We also had good relationship. We have adequate number of formators who are on campus, who are making sure that we have formation as the mind of the church wants.
The president also revealed that the report carries few challenges faced by the seminarians through their formation, challenges which their bishop says makes their formation fruitful and interesting.
Which the seminarians of Bachontai faced. They pointed out that they had issues with the bus that had to shuttle them from from one campus to another, because in Bachontai they have two campuses. You have the St. Peter's, which is like a temporary site, and the permanent site, St. Paul. So the bus has to shuttle them, but the bus was down for quite some time. Inconsistencies with electricity. Bishop mentioned that if we do not have challenges in the course of our vocation, or in the course of our formation, then the year cannot really be fruitful. And these challenges also make us ready for the ministry ahead.
The meeting for 2024 comes just few days after the diaconate ordination of their brothers. These deacons are very eager to meet and share with their father as he evaluates their formation towards the journey to the priesthood.
In other news, outstanding members of the Christian Family Movement have been awarded certificates as active and devoted couples for over 40 years in their various marriages. This was during celebrations marking the Golden Jubilee of the Apostolic Group in the Buea Diocese, Sunday, June 30, at All Saints Parish, Mutengene, where the Chief Shepherd, His Lordship Michael Bibi, called on all CFM members to shun hatred, live in communion with each other, exercise forgiveness. Details in the following report. The local ordinary of Buea, Bishop Michael Bibi, during the liturgical celebration marking the Golden Jubilee of the Christian Family Movement CFM of the Diocese of Buea, called on all CFM members to be dedicated, live in communion, exercise love and forgiveness within their families, as well as shun all forms of hatred while trusting God in good and bad times. The High Mass took place at the All Saints Parish, Mutengene, Sunday, June 30, 2024. 2024 and gathered CFM members from all parishes in the Buea Diocese who were celebrating under the theme, The Christian Family, a Model for Communion, Participation and Mission. The Chief Shepherd had this message sent to all members of the Christian Family Movement.
It is a pleasure today to join with the members of the Christian Family Movement in order to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of the movement in the Diocese of Buea. And I think a day like this is a day in which we remember the family as a domestic church. And the message I have for them is that they should continue to live in love with one another. Where there are situations of conflicts, they should try to forgive and be reconciled with one another. And that as members of this apostolate, they should be dedicated, they should be devoted, they should be disciplined in their spiritual lives. In this way, it will not only help them, but help the Christian community as we all strive to go to God's kingdom in heaven.
The Christian Family Movement was formed 50 years ago in Sase by 6 couples with specific objectives to be attained.
The main objective is to bring Christ into families in the form of peace, love and unity that we preach for families to practice. And with this, I think if each family brings Christ into the family, the church will be better and life will be better in all the families.
Father Patrick Malange is chaplain of the CFM of the Diocese of Buea.
I've been there for over 12 years and we're so grateful that the Lord has guided the apostolate right up to this time that we are celebrating 50 years of the diocese. And you know that Buea Diocese is the first diocese. That means the rest of the CFM, they have drawn their inspiration from Buea Diocese into the other dioceses. So we are grateful that the Lord has blessed us, that we are here to witness. And I'm thankful for all the members, the deaneries, for sharing and bringing out all that they have for CFM.
A highlight of the event was the handover of certificates to some exemplary members and couples of CFM for being dedicated members and couples for over 40 years of successful marriage. Now, a couple from CFM Bota, Judith and Dennis Lafon, have been awarded certificates for being outstanding and maintaining a successful marriage for 54 years. They talked to DMR-TV, sharing their secrets to a lifelong marital faith. Take a listen.
Very happy that we received another award today from the CFM for being or for leading or participating in that group for a long time. We had been the diocesan president couple for 7 years, from 1997, I think, to 2008. So that is what it is. Well, you want to know why and how we have been steady for so long. As a couple, we've kept our commitment to ourselves. We love ourselves. We've kept the commitment that we made at marriage to love one another until death do us part. And despite the torments or problems, each of us has kept his or her own part of the bargain. And on top of all of that, we add prayer, because without prayer, the burden cannot go off. And I think I congratulate my wife, because it's not been easy, you know, 2 people with different characters staying for more than, for now, 54 years. It's been not that easy, but we've found pleasure in one another.
Judith and Denise Lafon, a couple from the CFM, sharing their secrets to a lifelong marital life. They have spent 54 years together. Now, on to our foreign page. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has unveiled a new coalition government after his ruling African National Congress, ANC, party lost its parliamentary majority in May's elections. Meanwhile, Mauritania President Mohamed Ould Ghazouani has been re-elected as head of state following Saturday's national vote, provincial results show. From our news room is Hilarion Clinton with details.
Our first stop is in South Africa, where President Cyril Ramaphosa has unveiled a new coalition government after his ruling African National Congress party lost its parliamentary majority during the May 2024 elections. He said the government of the national unity is unprecedented in the history of the country's democracy. The African National Congress will have 20 out of 32 cabinet posts, while the Democratic Alliance, until now the main opposition party, will hold 6, and the 6 other portfolios will be shared among smaller parties. Sources from South Africa has revealed the African National Congress was forced into a coalition deal after May 2024 election. In the new cabinet, the African National Congress will keep key ministries such as defense, finance, and also foreign affairs, while the Democratic Alliance portfolios include home affairs, which controls immigration, as well as public works. Out of South Africa, Mauritanian President Mohamed Ould Ghazouani has been re-elected as head of state following Saturday's national vote provincial result. The Electoral Commission website shows he took over 56% of the vote, beating 6 opposition candidates. In second position was anti-slavery activist Biram Da Abed with 22%. The president, a former army chief, is credited with establishing stability since his first election 5 years ago, after decades of political unrest and frequent coups. On Sunday, Biram Da Abed, who according to sources had denied recognizing the result, calling it an electoral coup, was vying for the presidency for the 3rd time and had emerged second in the 2019 elections, also won by the former army chief. The report says analysts had expected Mohamed Ould Ghazouani to win the elections in the first round. We end in Nigeria, where at least 18 people have been killed and 30 injured in a series of deadly blasts in that country, thought to have been carried out by female suicide bombers. One of the bombing is reported to have killed 6 people and injured others at a wedding ceremony on Saturday in the northern eastern Benue State. The State Emergency Management Agency said the coordinated attacks targeted a wedding, the victim's subsequent funeral, and hospital in the town of Gouza, close to the border of Cameroon. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu, according to sources, has condemned the attacks, calling them desperate attacks of terror. He has promised actions against those responsible for the killings in the town of Gouza and insisted that the incident had not undermined recent gains made against jihadists.
Hilarion Clinton's report on news out of Cameroon wraps up this edition of Divine Mercy Prime. But before we go, we remind you of our major stories. The feelings of last week's diaconal ordination of Buea Diocese still linger fresh in the minds of many. 12 acolytes ordained deacons with a fervent call for them to be doers of the word they preach. Bishop Michael Bibi ordained them at the Divine Mercy Co-Cathedral, Moliko. Meanwhile, in the weekly televised catechetical session of the diocese this Monday, 1st July, the bishop focused on the ministry of the Divine Word. Today's session of Know Your Faith took place at All Saints Parish, Mutengene. And members of the Christian family movement in the Diocese of Buea have recommitted themselves to the virtues of a healthy family. This was as they celebrated the Golden Jubilee of CFM, Sunday, June 30, 2024. Many thanks for viewing. I have been Sama Eileen. For a presentation, the news was gathered by Editor-in-Chief Jude Mbaku. Keep it locked down on Divine Mercy Television for more information and entertainment.